Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. We hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays and a Happy New Year. And Mac, I would say I did have all of those things. I would say that the ACC didn't necessarily have a happy bowl season. So we are here to discuss what the heck happened, but also to talk a little playoff, to talk about which teams overachieved and underachieved in the ACC this season. And Mac, do you just sleep in that vest now? Is that what you do?
I do sleep in this Roback, beautiful vest here. No, and the crazy thing, I do have multiple of these. Like I'm not a vest guy, but I saw this one, the camo. You know, I love my camo.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you saw that I have a vest on, anything at all. So that's good for you. You got great vision there. But yeah, it's funny. The old episode, or last episode popped up, and I was like, I was wearing the same thing. Yikes. Crazy. It's been some time since then. So, but these are great. And I got to tell you, the text messages that we have received from Christmas presents that people bought Roback, or for Christmas that maybe we have given or that others have given because of us, has been a lot. And so you guys like some Roback. We do too. We love it. So continue to use our code GM Pod. Go on their website. If you didn't get what you want for Christmas, the best thing to do, KG, is to just get it yourself and make that some Roback stuff. So they have some great stuff. New Year's coming out, some new stuff. And then there's going to be a lot of new swag coming down the pipeline. Y'all just stay ready because we can't wait to share that with you and what it's going to be. But again, use our code GM Pod. And I like what you have on your quarter zip as well, KG. It looks very nice. It looks good.
Mac, I think I have 5 of these now. They're so
Is that one the shoot around must now? You sent me something about that. It's nice.
I pretty much wear these to every shoot around. And it's funny because I'm about to head up to Duke. I'm calling a Duke game. I guess this will release Sunday. So today, it's already been called. And I was putting this on for the show, and I'm like, I can't wear this to Duke. It's way too
Good
Carolina
choice.
blue. Like,
Good
I can't do that to them. So I'll have to go find another one in my closet. Real bummer. But yes, these, so comfortable. And then Mac, I'm going to have to get some other pictures, but my son, and I got Nick some polos, obviously, he loves them, but my son in the little baby polos just kills me. It's so cute. So,
well, here's the deal. You talk about the babies. I'm waiting on the little hoodies to come back. Those have been sold out for months. But Amelia, I'm not going to put her in a polo. I'm waiting, and maybe I should just hit up our guy, Shay. Maybe Shay can send me some. You know, I just need to hit him up and say, brother, I need these for baby girl, because those hoodies that I have, similar to you in the quarter zip, I have every color of hoodie, and then even some that maybe aren't really colors, who knows. But I sleep in those. They're so comfortable. They're so great. One last thing before we move on. I'm sorry. This is a long commercial.
This was organic. This just happened.
Is super organic. I was walking in downtown Charleston the other day, and this guy walks up to me, and a guy that I know just through the grapevine here, Robacked out. He's like, hey, got it on. I got it on. Big listener of the show. So I said, brother, thank you. Continue to support. He looked great. He looked fantastic. Polo, hoodie, and pants. He was decked out.
Come on. That's amazing. So yeah, use our code GMPod. All right, Mac, we're going to talk a little playoff big picture, give our thoughts. We're going to talk about some of these ACC bowl games and just frankly how rough it was, but we will give some love to Louisville and Syracuse. We'll not forget about you guys. And then I want to talk about who I think in the ACC overachieved, underachieved, and then just kind of plateaued, like hit expectations. And I want your thoughts on that, Eric McLean. So let's just get into the playoff in general, right? You and I alluded to this when we broke down SMU and Clemson. If you missed our SMU and Clemson game recaps, go check that out. So we've already done that. But we've seen a lot of people complaining about the playoff.
Right.
And I mean, I think it's been epic so far, Mac. It's been so fun to watch. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, you've had some blowouts, but that's any sport. Like, that can happen in any sport, in the NCAA basketball tournament, in the NFL playoffs, anywhere. So I think we need to kind of stop, for lack of a better word. I was going to say a word, but I'm just going to say, stop complaining. Everyone chill and enjoy what we have, because overall, I thought the Clemson-Texas game was obviously the best of the first round, even though some of those games could have been closer. It was just, obviously, Kevin Jennings was throwing it to the other team, et cetera. And then in the quarters, yes, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, shout out Michigan, wasn't great. Penn State, Boise was, it was relatively close, and the score didn't look as good. Georgia, Notre Dame, you had to watch the whole thing. And then Texas, Arizona State was epic. So, Mac, are you with me? Like, are you loving this playoff so far?
Absolutely loving it. And my biggest thing, I guess, with all the people complaining, and what they're complaining about and why they're complaining, and just this continued, thing about, people going out on these crazy ledges and saying that wins don't matter. It's not about your wins, it's about who you play. And I'm just like, what? What do you
Why?
mean? Like, wins matter in everything, every
No,
sport.
we've gotten the Final Four is very good. Like
It's great.
those have been four, if not four best teams all year, besides the one time Notre Dame played Northern Illinois, and I still can't get
Right.
over it. But
Right.
beyond that, like it's gotten us to a really good Final Four.
It's been fantastic. And think if we just had the BCS, think if we just had the four teams in previous, we would have had Oregon and Georgia, and those teams got
Yeah,
blown out by a combined 30 total points. Like it's
great
it's
point.
it's crazy that people are doing what they were and how they were doing it. So, strength of schedule and all that mythical made up stuff of how you even get to that point, because strength of schedule is determined preseason. We don't know who's good. We have no idea. And so to me, in like the top 25 wins, like using that as, again, these people make the top 25. So it's a crazy deal. And I've been very pleased, with it. And do you hate the blowout? Sure. But it's also fascinating to
Hmm.
see who gets blown out and why and how they get blown out. And to me, the funniest thing of it all is that Indiana caught all this flack and they lost by less than Georgia did. And so to me, I'm just, what are you people talking about on certain shows, sitting and screaming from the rooftops that X team doesn't belong and they shouldn't have been here? And it's just, it's baffling to me. And those people know football, and that's what's even more baffling, to be quite honest. But I've loved it. I
Hmm.
think the only thing that I have, an issue with is the automatic buy, which I've kind of said that for a long,
Okay.
long time. Like, I just, number one, I don't think a group of five team deserves to ever have a buy. It's different football. It's just, at the end of the day, it really is. And so I like the auto bid. I'm fine with that. Similar to the NCAA tournament, if you win your conference and you are, at certain levels, you should be in. I love that. But I don't like the auto buy. I think that the four best teams deserve the bye, whoever they are,
It's the
however
top
we
four
get
seeds.
the
Yeah,
top four seeds.
I
They
like
they
that too.
deserve the bye, and that kind of worked out. Honestly, these teams probably, if we look at the AP poll, which I don't have it in front of me, if you could pull that up, maybe KG, I'll
Hmm.
be shaking this computer all around.
I got
I
it.
think it's pretty close. Like Oregon would have got the bye, which they did. I think Notre Dame would have been in that. Texas maybe close. So when you look at the AP's top, whatever versus where we landed because of the seeding,
Yeah.
it is fascinating.
I like that, Mac. I think so. When you look at it, it would be if it's the playoff rankings, it would have been Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Penn State,
Which
which is
two
two
of
of the
those teams
four
won? Yeah.
that are left. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was the AP, it would have been Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas.
Hmm.
So either way you look at it, you would have had what, two of the right teams that are left.
Right.
So yeah, I think you're right on that, Mac. And yeah, it's a great point with Boise. Like this is not even a Clemson deserved the bye over Boise conversation. It's
Right.
just when you play, you deserve to have a chance,
Correct.
but you probably should not be getting a bye. So I like
Correct.
that. I think it should be the top four. Are you buying into, because I think this is silly. I think this is just the better team won. But people saying that getting a bye is bad.
Right.
Like I think if you're good enough, getting a bye is great, especially
Yeah.
in football. You look at all of the injuries that we've had. I'm
Yeah.
not buying into that, oh, they played last week, so they were better equipped. I think that's silly too.
I think there is a little something
Oh,
to
you
it.
do?
It's no basketball. I mean, when you're
I mean,
shooting
but football
your
to me
ball,
seems different.
yeah, but like tournament and playoffs, like you want to roll, you want to keep going. You don't want to sit around. I think back to AAU and
Well, yeah, in
let's go.
basketball, sure.
And for football, there is a rust element, because as much as we have made the game safer and we've made the season longer and we've done all these things, we don't hit in practice. You tackle live very few times compared to when my father played, for when my father-in-law played, when all these different things. And so to only really play football, you've got to play a game. And so there's a little bit to that. Now, I do think exactly what you just said, because as we just pointed out with the AP and the actual college football ranking, the better, higher ranked team won the game. And so that it's hard to look at it that way. So I'm not quite ready to go out on that ledge super
Okay.
far without fixing the auto buy situation and getting that taken care of. Like if those are true top four teams and then they lose, then I'm like, oh, hey, look out here. Because Oregon, quite frankly, ran into a buzzsaw. Like
Yeah.
Ohio State figured it out, and they looked fantastic against Tennessee, annihilated them, and then annihilated Oregon back to back. I don't know if that changes whoever has the bye. I think that they've got their thing going on there, but we'll see down the road. It is going to be a fascinating thing, and I do want to bring up the Oregon thing. I've been to different hunts and men's talks and family dinners and all these different things, and people ask me, who's the best team in the country? And I said, well, maybe Oregon. They're undefeated. I don't know. I don't think we know. And that's what I love, that our Final Four, again, seeding, disregard it for a second, is number 5, 8, 6, and 7. Like, we have no clue. We have no clue.
Well,
And, it'll be fascinating just to see. I'm looking at the spreads right now. Ohio State's favored by 6 and Notre Dame's favored by 2. So I think it's leveling out to be really fun and very interesting.
Well, I would also say this, college football, welcome to the rest of sports.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
this is how every other postseason goes. Like, college football is different because it's always had such a small and select postseason. But you
Right.
look at the Final Four in men's basketball, and even more so now, the Final Four in women's basketball. You have teams that make the Final Four. In the NFL, you got teams from the wild card that end up winning a Super Bowl. So it's more fun this way. Like,
Right.
I
Right.
think there's some college football purists that hate it because they're just like, we want number 1 and number 2. But
Yeah.
this is more fun.
Well, I'll say this too, and I've seen Marcus Spears talk about this. I've seen Ryan Clark talk about a lot of guys where it's not the same anymore, where a powerhouse team, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, even though they're playing really well, those teams can't just keep their first round talent
Correct.
for years. Like, if you're good and you're good, you're going to leave. You're
Mhm.
not just sitting around waiting for the next good guy to leave and then you fill his spot. That guy's now leaving and going other places. So you can't just, harness and stockpile all this talent like you could. And I do think that's why we're seeing, the just different teams and different places, come up here. Like, with this Final Four, somebody's going to win their first national championship coaching wise. Like, it's not
Yeah.
just
Good
Kirby
point.
and Dabo anymore. Like, somebody else is throwing their name in this hat. And it's fascinating. I think it's so good for the sport. I think it clearly was great for the sport in the regular season. Like, this was the most impactful, important regular season I've ever seen in my lifetime
Mhm.
because everything mattered. There was
Right.
so many implications. The SEC had a terrible week 13. The ACC had a terrible week 14, and they flip-flopped back and forth. And so
Mhm.
I think interest is at an all-time high. You saw the ratings, even with having to move because of a terrible tragedy,
Oh.
and it kills me. And my heart went out for all those people in New Orleans. Even with moving that, and even with the games being stacked on top of each other, the numbers were astronomical.
Oh, yeah.
The interest in college football right now is at an unbelievable all-time high.
Yeah, and then you add this playoff and you add more intrigue, and it's just more fun overall. Mac, let's give our initial thoughts on this Final Four. Then we'll get to some ACC games. I think we end up with an Ohio State Notre Dame championship game,
Wow.
which, every TV executive is literally salivating.
Yeah.
Honestly, any of these brands, they're going to love for a national championship. And it's so weird. And again, this is more like welcome to how other sports work, because you'll see in basketball, sometimes we say, oh, it's good they lost in the conference championship.
Right.
Like, it's good for them to get a loss, maybe work on some things, get some rest. Ohio
Mhm.
State getting
Yeah.
embarrassed by Michigan may have been the best thing to happen to them because they look like a juggernaut. I think right now Ohio State beats Notre Dame for the national championship.
Wow.
It's so funny because Ohio State fans they're obviously going to be happy, but they're going to think, oh my God, we lost to Michigan. Like,
Yeah.
to win a national title and lose to Michigan is almost a
crazy.
nightmare situation.
Yeah, I think that's the safest pick. I'm right there with you. I will say this, like, we kind of have, I'm a planner, and so are you. We both like to plan a lot, and we kind of have what it's going to look like. But if Notre Dame's in the national championship, we're going to have to get Jordan Cornette on the show. I mean, we're going to have to talk to him, figure this whole thing out, get his
Our
thoughts.
half brother, Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's right. Our stepchild over
Yeah,
there. The Golden
redheaded stepchild.
and just because I'm right there with you. I mean, I think that the Penn State Notre Dame game is going to look very, I don't know score wise, but the way it looks on the field to me is going to be very similar to what they just had, and they won. I think they feel good about that. And then you've got Texas, who's kind of gotten by the skin of their teeth. I know they
Yeah.
beat Clemson by 14, but I mean, I think they get dog walked by Ohio State, and we'll
Really?
see. I mean, we'll see. I think Ohio State wins by double digits. They're just so hot, and they have so many answers, right? Like
Yeah.
that was the weirdest thing about why they struggled when they did. They didn't use Jeremiah Smith against Michigan. It's like they forgot he was on the
It
team.
was wild.
So weird.
Yes.
So weird.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. And I could easily see either one of them because of all the ACC guys on Notre Dame's team. I want to lean them.
Well, we
Uh,
root for Riley Leonard on this podcast. I mean,
no
we love
question. Love that dude. Bo Collins, Clemson grad. There's a lot of guys. Oben from Duke is on that team,
him.
defensive end. There's a lot of ACC guys for Notre Dame there. So it will be fascinating. I don't know if they have enough to slow down that firepower, though.
Yeah. Yeah. We will see. Okay. Before we get to some of the ACC bowl games, we are not going to dwell on and bore you with some of these travesties like UConn's massive win over North Carolina, or the ECU NC State debacle. But before we get to all of that, let's get to a message from our good friends at Ingles.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have energy smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
All right, Mac, let's talk about some of these bowl games. It did not go great for the Atlantic Coast Conference in bowl season, but let's start with the positive. Let's start with the teams that gained the most from bowl season. And I'm going to start with the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse, I mean, what a season. Finishing 10-3 in Fran Brown's first year. Cal McCord breaking Deshaun Watson's ACC single season passing record. Cal McCord having just an incredible year. And he passed for 453 in this game, 5 touchdowns. Washington State gets off to a good start, but then Syracuse comes roaring back. They win 52-35 over Washington State. And then Washington State loses their coach to Wake Forest. We're going to get into that, Mac. But this was a big win for Syracuse, kind of a statement, cherry on top for their season after beating Miami. And then you have the intrigue of Kyle McCord is officially petitioning for another year from the NCAA. The NCAA generally gives everybody anything they ask for.
We'll just sue them. Just threaten them with a lawsuit.
I guess. What jurisdiction do they even have? So if he comes back, Mac, I'm very intrigued. But what did you think of this Syracuse win?
Yeah, I'm right there with you with all of that. And just a huge congratulations and shout out to Syracuse. I mean, I remember back us around October, Syracuse maybe dropped a couple in there early.
Who believed, Mac?
You did. You never didn't believe in the Orange, but I did not. I said, you got to show me. You got to prove it to me because I've seen this story too many times. I've seen, Syracuse start 6, 7, and 5-0, ranked in the country, and then lose every game after that. And so, for me, it was what was going to be different, and the job that Coach Fran Brown has done in this first year, the belief these guys not only coming here, but also executing and doing it on the field at such a high level. Kyle McCord being the ultimate example of that is tremendous and so much fun. And I think proving, hey, you can come home and we're going to win. Like if you want to be near that, or if you just want to come and be developed at a really high level, it's going to be fascinating to see what they do in the draft. I mean, they've got some really nice guys, and Kyle McCord kind of being that bridge guy. Is he going to come back? Is he going to get that year, or is he going to go on to the NFL draft here? So it was amazing to see. And a guy like LaQuint Allen, who is such a great back and has been really fun to watch in the ACC, had a great game and a great season. And, he's declaring he's going on to the NFL draft. Those receivers, Rondé Gadsden has been so dynamic all year long. Pena coming back, we get another year of that. Hopefully he has, a guy slinging it all around to him. So it was a lot of fun. And this was a great way for them to go out 52 points, 1 billion yards, and, just doing really whatever they wanted offensively.
I'm assuming they'll finish top 20 in the final poll, which is a heck of a season for Syracuse and Fran Brown turning that program around. And Mac, let's give Louisville I want to talk about the state of bowl games in a second, but let's give Louisville credit. They beat Washington 35-34. They let Washington come back in that fourth quarter Harrison Bailey looks good, but then he goes in the portal because Louisville's bringing in Miller Moss at quarterback, former Southern Cal quarterback. Tyler Shuck opted out because he's, 28 and can't afford to get hurt. Louisville had 22 players opt out. It was just, they found a way to win. And I think what's big here, Mac, is just the momentum. I know Louisville keeps going and getting a new quarterback, so I'm not sure how sustainable that is long term.
Right.
But 10 wins in year 1 for Jeff Brom, 9 wins in year 2. I think if you told anybody that when Jeff Brom was hired, they would say, sign me up, we're good to go.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. On top of being in the ACC championship, on top of finally beating Kentucky, all these things. Good job, great job winning by 1, holding on by the skin of your teeth there. Again, when you look at Louisville, there was still question marks on who they were going to be this year. There's just so much turnover, and it's hard, and that's going to be really a difficult thing for us, but also these coaches and other people involved within this sport here of who are we going to be? I mean, we have so many new athletes coming in the door here, and you just don't know. And you might have a good idea, but you never really know. But for them to win 9 games, massive. To get the second W for the ACC, hallelujah, praise God. And I do want to talk about that, KG, because it was so embarrassing to see them. And I get it, right? I know everybody has left, and maybe you didn't play, and this. So did the other teams you were playing against, okay? I don't get it.
Yes, but okay. Here's what I think. I think that we have to stop as a society judging leagues on bowl games. Yeah. If we want to judge leagues more on the playoff, get that. Understand that. But I think we need to judge leagues on the regular season because these bowl games, there are so many variables that are not constant.
Right.
And even people that are trashing the SEC. I know the SEC only has 1 team left in the playoff, but talking about South Carolina's loss to Illinois or what Oklahoma's loss, I don't think we can do that. I don't think we can. This sounds weird, but we can't take bowl season seriously anymore. You just can't. Okay, North Carolina loses to UConn. Omar and Hampton doesn't play. We can't. It's just not serious. And I think the most not serious thing that we saw that tells me right now that bowl games literally don't matter anymore is Cam Ward opting out at halftime. Mm-hmm. Now, I'd love your thoughts on this, Mac. We've had Cam Ward on the show. He was great with us. We wish him all the success in the world. And he is in a flawed system. These bowl games are flawed. They don't really matter, but they want to be on TV. And so they're good, they're worth something because obviously they're on television, but there's no real reason to play unless, of course, we get that in future NIL contracts that you have to play or whatever.
Right.
But when he didn't play in the second half, I'm like, this is all you need to know. Mm-hmm. This is not serious.
Right. Yeah, I'm there with you. And I think it's, I'll directly touch on that situation first. And we'll touch bowl picture and what I think needs to happen there. I was happy he played it all. I was happy to see him in a jersey one last time. I was happy to see him break the record of the most touchdown passes ever in the history of football. But the part that was weird was your team is down by 1. There's a minute left on the clock.
You're just sitting.
You're the best quarterback in the world, and you're just going to sit there and watch. And he kept his uniform on. It'd be one thing. Yeah. It would probably be easier for me if he was in street clothes and dress.
Right.
But this dude still has his full jersey. He's still sweating. And I'm just like, oh, it's a weird
terrible look.
But at the end of the day, NFL people don't give a flip about that. They don't care. Yeah. This dude is who he is. That doesn't tell them anything, and he got it done. So, Malik Neighbors did it last year for LSU. He played a half, got the record, whatever, I don't remember what it was, and sat out and ended up being a great pick and is dominating in the NFL. So I think what you said there, it proves that this is a weird spot is very much telling.
Yeah.
South Carolina just had a guy, their safety, played a half and then sat out and they lost. He would have been a difference maker, in that game. So it's a really weird deal.
It's not serious, Mac. That's the only way to describe it. It's not serious.
It's not. And so, okay, how do you fix it? What do you do? And, I think the interesting thing is, number one, we got to get rid of some. That's going to pique interest. That's going to pique money. That's going to pique views because it's going to be better teams and it's going to be better games. And, can you make up for the losses of the quantity with the quality? And I think that answer is yes. And, to me, the fact that we have teams that have 5 wins playing in bowl games is outrageous.
Silly.
The fact that we have 6 wins playing, and that's the minimum. That's like,
Mhm.
that's it. If you can get to 6, you're in. Dude, it should be a crazy privilege
Yeah.
to play in a bowl game. It should be an honor to be invited by a bowl to play in a bowl. It shouldn't be, oh man, we got that bowl. What? Like,
Right.
it shouldn't be that. And that's what it is, because there's way too many. So let's cut it in half. Let's make it very hard to get to. And then on top of that, these bowls, like you spend all this money on advertising and this and that, and the gifts that you give and all these different things. Just pay the players. Just say, you made it to this bowl game. Here's what every player is slotted to play 4 quarters of this game.
4
After
quarters.
you're done, you get your game check like in NFL. You don't, not because of injury, but if you choose not to play, you're getting a discounted rate. You know, we're only paying for what we got. And so that's how I think you change it. That's how I think you make it really, really interesting. And those bowls can afford it. Let's be real. Let's be honest. With the money, that they're spending, they generate things of that nature. That'll get more people coming to games. I saw the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which we love those people. It was like 14 people in the stands. It was embarrassing. It was dumb. And so, at the end of the day, how do you make all of that better? You make it more prestigious. You make it more of a difficult thing to achieve, not just handing them out left and right. All we got to do is win six. It really, really meaning something.
Yeah.
And being important. Back again, we keep mentioning back in the day.
Back
When
in the
my
day.
father-in-law played, you had to have 8 or more wins to even think about going. And you might still not get invited. If you have 8 wins, you might still not get an invite. And so that, to me, it just makes it better, at the end of the day.
I love that, Mac. I think the TV people have to give up some of these games because they know that even the, the Pop-Tart Bowl is this prestigious bowl now, Eric McLean, but the whatever bowl, it will draw a million viewers. And so it's tough for TV to give that up. But I in an ideal world, absolutely. And then the other thing too, if we're going to have contracts now with revenue share and all that, I think it's got to be in the contract that the player has to play, because if the fans are paying your salary in some way, shape or form,
right,
and then you don't play, it's a whole issue and it's a whole can.
And I mean, it's super easy. It's just literally an agreement that as soon as you get selected for that bowl is sent to your email and you sign it. If I play, here's what I get.
Sure.
It's all black and white. There's, maybe there can be bonuses if there's a situation like a Cam Ward. That's on you.
And then maybe you make it even more fun, even more interesting for bowl games, right? Like, okay, you pass for 400 yards. Hey, there's a bonus. I mean, with Cam Ward, he's going to get first round money. That signing bonus won't touch anything that the Pop-Tart people can give him.
Right. Yeah, but the MVP gets a little more. Sure. I love all that.
Or lifetime supply of Pop-Tarts. I mean,
sounds like a great deal.
Let's get serious.
And Cole Kubelik would love that.
It's just unserious to me at this point. I think, so I don't think we can judge conferences off of an unserious thing. That just seems silly.
It's still embarrassing. And
I agree.
Everybody's going to use it against me. And I just look at them with a blank stare on my face.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Mac, let's finish up here. You tell me if I'm right or wrong, basically. You tell me if you disagree. So I'm going to give you the ACC teams that I feel like overachieved this year.
Okay.
The ACC teams that I feel like underachieved. And the ACC teams that just kind of hit expectations and did what we thought they would do. All right. So let's start with the ones that just kind of hit. All right. I have Cal. I have Boston College, Stanford, Virginia, Pittsburgh. I don't think any team did more or really did less. Now, Pittsburgh is the one that's a little odd because Pittsburgh, of course, was ranked. They were 6-0 or 7-0, right? And then they just fell apart. So if you judge them by mid-season standards, you'd probably say underachieved. If you judge them by the fact that they were ranked at all, overachieved. But I feel like we all thought Pitt would probably end up 7-6. Like, who did I miss there? Do you disagree on Pitt?
Well, I think Pitt was picked to be bad.
Yeah, they were.
I think
they were
4 wins or 5 wins, maybe. If I'm wrong, y'all correct me in the comments.
No, I think you're right. I think
they were picked to be
because they were coming off a really bad year.
Yeah, the fact that they did this to me was impressive. Now there is that, it's not even recency at this point. It's the back half of the season. It's like 6-game losing streak. It might be. Yeah, I think it's 6. That's bad. That's not good. That's not good. And a big part of that was because you lost your quarterback, Eli Holsting. But I'm going to put them in the overachieved for me. Like I think that I had no expectation for them. I thought they were going to be really, really bad. And I think Eli, Reed, those guys, and they're both back. I mean, there's a bunch of promise for Pitt to me. And I know that people aren't happy with various decisions and not going for it, punting, things of that nature. I get it. But to me, I still think they overachieve. So I would put Pittsburgh in that overachieve spot.
I hear you on that. Yeah. The other ones, I feel like they just kind of did what we thought they would do. Boston College, maybe I should put underachieved, but that was all what we thought would happen with Tommy Castellanos. And then I put them in the hit expectations, make a bowl game, kind of just be in that spot. Right. All right, let's talk overachieved. Unfortunately, there are more underachieving teams than overachieving teams. In the overachieved, I've got 5, the Fab 5. SMU, obviously, Syracuse, Louisville, Georgia Tech, and Duke. Those are my overachieving teams.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, Clemson's not in there?
I just am fascinated these underachieving, we're not going to have 10-win teams in underachieving, are we?
I mean, compared to expectations, I think Clemson and Miami underachieved.
You expected Clemson to be in the playoff this year?
Well, Clemson snuck in, Mac. Clemson did not deserve to be in the playoff.
Put them up there. Come on.
Mac.
We didn't.
They lost to Louisville at home. They lost to Georgia by 30.
I think Clemson's number
Carolina.
8. I think 8 was their win total.
Okay, Vegas can say what they want. Did you, Mac, getting blown out by Georgia, losing to the Gamecocks, and losing to Louisville, and then backdooring your way into a playoff is an overachieving season?
They won a championship. Come on.
Bro, man.
I thought Cade Klubnik was no good. He's the best quarterback in the country next year.
Cade overachieved. Cade overachieved for sure.
The defense was terrible.
The defense was terrible.
Okay.
I want to see how people feel about this.
Yeah, I didn't think that they would be back in the playoff this year. So they just overachieved.
And yes, it was great, and they found their way in. But I think any season you lose to Carolina, and you lose 2 home games, Eric McLean.
Yeah.
All right, Clemson fans, tell us what you think. For the other
you at least put them at status quo. We can't. There's no way we put them under.
Right. I mean, you can put them at hit expectations.
Your standards. I
any
love it.
Clemson season where you lose 2 home games, Mac. Yeah. Honestly, let's be real. Any Clemson season where you lose to the Gamecocks.
Yeah. So what do you give me a letter grade? We're gonna do a whole show now on letter grades of all these teams. Give me a letter grade for Clemson. What does Clemson get of your report card?
A B.
Okay. B's fine.
A B. But I mean, Clemson's used to getting an A+, Mac.
Yeah,
They're a smart kid who got a B.
That's different. That's true. That's true. All right, give me the teams again. Right. Give me who overachieved. You got to do it all over again.
Y'all tell us what you think. Yeah. Overachieved. SMU, Syracuse, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Duke.
Yeah. I think Louisville's maybe a tweener. I think that's probably. I mean, they didn't do anything except. I mean, they beat Clemson first time ever. Good job. I guess
they
that bumped
Kentucky. They won 9 games.
They beat Kentucky for the. Okay, great. Sure, give it to them. Give it to them.
You could put him hit expectations. I understand you on that.
I'll put him a little bit up.
Okay.
If you do things you've never done before, you get moved up there. Let's go to the bad teams.
The other ones are obvious. They're overachieved. Would you move any of these underachieving teams? Clemson, Miami. Miami didn't win an ACC championship, Matt.
They put it all in. You're right. Yeah. They put everything into championships, and they didn't get it. So that's.
I feel like you underachieved. Yeah. Virginia Tech. Oh my God. Yeah. The rest of these are just, oh my God. North Carolina. NC State, Florida State, and Wake Forest.
I would move Wake Forest up to whatever.
Sure, hit expectations
for them. Miami, I'm back and forth. I think everyone thinks they underachieved. I mean, that's a part of the matter. When you spend that much money, when you get a guy like that, when you do the things you're able to do. Similar to Clemson, your defense just let you down. Your defense is the reason why you weren't able to do that. They fired their defensive coordinator. Lance Guidry there, who I love and think is really good, and going to be interesting to see where he lands. But it is tough, and so I guess you have to put them there. And really, the reason I put Clemson above is I didn't have that same expectation for Clemson to me, and that's the last thing I'm going to say about it.
Didn't we both think it'd be a Clemson-Miami ACC title game?
Yeah, but I didn't think they were going to get maybe to the playoff, but maybe I did. I don't remember. CT, I'm being a homer right now, I guess. I'm being a homer. And get that. NC State, terrible. Just really upset me all year long. The way it looked, the guys that they fired their offensive coordinator. They got a new guy, a couple of position coaches in, elevating Coach Roper to the offensive coordinator position. Virginia Tech, similar. I thought NC State would be significantly better. Schedule, opportunity, and players they had coming in. I thought NC State was going to walk to the playoff or walk to the championship, and they did anything but. Virginia Tech, kind of interesting deal. Fire defense coordinator, fire strength coach, which I don't love that move at all. I would love to hear why that was a thing. I thought Dwight Galt was amazing and a really good coach, but sometimes other guys have to be scapegoats, and that's is what it is, which is unfortunate. So I don't love that.
The only other one you could argue, Mac, and you tell me, is North Carolina. I almost wonder.
I didn't expect anything from them,
You didn't, but with Omar and Hampton, if they had beaten UConn and finished 7-6, which they probably would have if Omar and Hampton played, maybe you move them to hit expectations.
Yeah.
But I mean, Mac, James
Madison
scored 70 and lost.
I've got them borderline losing record, firing your coach. I've got them the highest, most disappointing team.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Maybe Clemson is actually, I guess. Clemson's my highest, most disappointing team.
I'm glad we disagree. I really want to hear specifically from Clemson fans. Tell me, or even just ACC fans, like viewing Clemson season. Did you view it as they overachieved or underachieved?
Right.
And then same, I think Miami fans, we know how they feel. They underachieved.
For sure.
First, and then all
the FSU. Do you think FSU really underachieved?
I think FSU blew themselves up.
Let me just
into oblivion.
They did. I cannot. So we're gonna do our ACC under review. We're not hitting everybody. There's just we don't have time for that, and
there's too many teams.
It is what it is. We are going to focus our attention on Florida State. I cannot wait to hear what Ira has to say and just his thoughts on the situation, and obviously he covers it every single day. When did he know? When did he know to sound the alarms? It's code blue. Everything's back. I can't wait to hear all of that. And it's going to be a real – listen, we love Florida State. It's going to be a very real conversation. It's not like we're just piling on. It's going to be fascinating. So that will be fun thing to come down the road here, KG, pretty soon.
Can't wait. ACC Under Review will be coming in January. We're going to hit a lot of teams with basically the most knowledgeable person that covers every one of these teams. So we're excited for that. But thank you guys for an awesome football season. This has been our best one yet. Our most watched, our most viewed, most listens. We appreciate y'all's support. Thank you for supporting our sponsors that support us. And yeah, Mac, let's get into the off season. Can't wait.
No doubt. It's a new year. Same two people breaking it all down. Appreciate you guys. As KG just said, we love y'all. Continue the support. Go over to YouTube, subscribe, jump in the comments. We've already asked you and begged you to jump over there. Tell us what you think and some different points of this episode. But until next time, we'll see y'all.